Hi. Hi, this is Jack Stanley, and you know something? I have done this with lots of people, and I'm going to continue doing it with young collectors and old collectors. What was the magic that took place that got you involved in collecting? Or we could change it maybe. What was the illness? Or
Oh,
how did this obsession begin? And with you, this is Gavin Rice, and he is an amazing young musician, a collector. I mean, I watch what he does, and I'm just like blown away. It's really incredible.
thank you very much, Jack. I
But
appreciate
but
that.
let him talk, and I'll shut up.
Oh, Jack. Well, the absolutely starting from the very beginning of the magical collecting of discs and machines. It started when I was about 12 years old. My very good friend Ross Hall gave me a Edison C250 Atom, and there was no reproducer, no crank, no grill cloth, except motor, horn, cabinet. That was about it. And 12-year-old me was intrigued. I had no idea what this thing was. I thought it was a cabinet with like some weird storage thing on the inside. I was just so confused. And then I looked on the ID plate and it said Edison Diamond Disc. And I said, Edison? I just learned about Thomas Edison. He must have invented electricity. No, I'm kidding. I'm only joking. Of course, 12-year-old me just learned about this, who Edison was. And then a thought came in my head, this must be some sort of record player, because the turntable moved when I started it. It had been cranked when I got it, but again there was no crank, so I couldn't crank it anymore. And then eventually it stopped. So one thing I didn't mention is how when I started it, the turntable just went absolutely mad. It just spun at whatever revolution it went. I swear it was spinning at like 300 RPM, and I was like, what? I can't think of a single record that would spin at this speed. So of course I looked inside. The governor was not correctly positioned against the spindle. So I fixed that, I raised it up. That was the first thing I ever did on the machine, and then it worked. I could change the speed, I could, this turntable was spinning much cleaner, and then I was like, I'm ready. So this was in my garage. I found a reproducer on eBay, I rebuilt it. It was a Kent lateral adapter. I went to the hardware store, made my own homemade gaskets out of rubber hose, put it in there, attached it, and I had to spin the spring barrel manually because I didn't have a crank. I know. So
Well, you do that kind of stuff. I just sorry to interrupt for a
No, of
second,
course.
but when I started collecting, and I was like 12,
yeah,
same kind of thing. You have no idea what the hell you're doing.
No.
It's and anything that works is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And me being a child from a mechanical background, I thought this was the most fascinating thing ever. So I had to fix it up. And of course, before this, I've been a musician for longer than I've been a phonograph collector. So music has always been close to me for a long time. At 12 years old, I've already been performing. I've recorded a few things on Spotify. But at this point, I thought to myself, I'm going to get this 100% working. So I got the reproducer. I found a crank on eBay. I didn't get a grill cloth, but I started playing it, and I was blown away by how a shellac disc with tiny grooves inside of it being dragged against a steel needle could reproduce the clearest tones of the instruments. My first record I played was the Toreador March from Carmen, sung on a Columbia disc, a grand prize disc.
I'm just thinking with you were growing up before the age, after the age of records. So it was something very foreign to you.
It was quite foreign. I will say, I had a general idea, but
Okay.
but I had no idea that they were this old. Because everyone tells you, oh, I have a few LPs. It's like, wow, that's old. At 12 years old, you're like, oh my God, this is so old. But when you get a 100-year-old phonograph and 100-year-old disc, you're just like, 12-year-old brain is blown away that it's still around and how it can still sound this good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then I sold that machine after I fixed it up. Bought a Victor 9, not a Victor Victrola 9. There was a broken spring. I cut the broken part off. I drilled a new teardrop hole at 14 years old. Keep in mind, my dad comes in the garage. There are sparks flying everywhere, and I didn't have internet at the time. So I just had to gauge off of pictures that I like, or not pictures. It's like what I had, you know.
I understand.
So-
I use crazy glue.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable.
You know, it's amazing what you do when you're young because you have no idea. No one's told you anything,
Of course.
and you're experimenting.
It's all experimental.
and it's fun because that's the way you learn. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, the Victor 9 worked great. Sold that. Got a Columbia 650, Edison Standard, Victor 255, all these machines. And today I just got a Triumph, which is my new recording. It's going to be my new recording machine.
So, have you created your own recording head?
So
Judging by your
funny you mentioned that.
Okay.
Charlie Hummel, he's a collector in the area. He just gifted me an Edison recorder without the stylus bar. So I have an Edison recorder, but this is going to be my experimental. I haven't told anybody this, not even Wyatt. I am going to figure out how to mount that onto a disc machine and cut into discs.
Ooh,
Right.
that'll be interesting.
Of course, the Edison cutter cuts vertically. So if I were to figure out how to put that on a blank disc and cut, I could make vertical discs in 2020 and in 2022, and those have amazing fidelity.
Sure they do.
Now, Edison
You don't
grooves
have
are
the blasting. That's one of the
no
things.
blasting,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So now Edison grooves are thin. This is going to be an experiment. This may take a while. I have to figure out how to mount this feed screw. It's all experimental. In the next few years, I may have.
But Gavin, you're 18.
I'm only 18. That's right.
You're 18, and you have done so much.
Oh.
And I'm in awe.
Thank you.
I mean, really, seriously, I think of myself when I was 18, I had finally figured how to make the machine work, but I hadn't gone much beyond that.
Thank you.
And then, but good for you.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Oh no,
I appreciate it.
you deserve as much credit as anyone can give you because you have incredible talents which are just starting to blossom. And I'm looking forward to multi-track recordings.
Oh,
I'm
this
looking
summer.
forward to all kinds of stuff that you're going to do
This summer.
and you're going to shake this world up a little bit.
Oh, Jack, thank you. And now I've been in awe of Jack ever since I found out about his YouTube and Facebook. It's unbelievable. Seriously, Jack has interviewed presidents, Buzz Aldrin, historical figures, Theodore Edison. I can say the same about Jack, and even more, because he's a national treasure.
Well, thank you very much. It's very kind. And you are an upcoming national treasure. Let's put it that way.
Too kind.
I'm
Thank
just
you,
a
Jack.
historic treasure.
Thank you, Jack. Oh my God. Thank you, Jack.
So, thank you. Thank you so much in explaining how you started this whole thing. And I can't wait to do this with you in 10 years. And then talk about what you have done.
Oh, thank you so much, Jack.
So, I think we'll end this here.
Okay, perfect.
So,
Thank you so much, Jack.
Aim our little finger and that little button.